Despite what our official council clock says, it is 7 o'clock, so we're getting started. First, I'd like to start the chairman's announcements and wish you all a very happy new year and hope that 2026 is a good year for us all, your families, and of course for Billingshurst. And just our normal housekeeping announcements, just to remind you that the meeting is being streamed to the internet, so please speak loudly and clearly. Please raise your hand if you wish to speak, and please can only one person speak at a time, and mobile phones should be either switched off or silent. When it comes to members of the public or district or county councillors speaking, we now have got a separate seat at the end of the table we'd like you to take if possible, so it fits in with our new recording and streaming equipment. Other things I wanted to mention, just thanks to everyone involved in making the Christmas fair on the 6th of December such a huge success. That's centre and council staff, and thanks to the councils that helped out on the day. And a reminder that tomorrow Highwood will be holding a consultation event at Billingshurst Centre between 3 and 8 about their aspirations for the rest of Billingshurst. I believe there's a novel bit of council in there about today. Anything else I want to? Okay, apologies for absence.
Receive chairman from councillors Algar, Wenger and Rose for approved reasons.
I propose we accept. Seconded by Councillor Gill. Thank you. Those in favour? That is carried. Thank you. Now we move on to considering the applications for co-option. We've got one vacancy and 2 applicants. I'll say right from the outset that they both seem to be very strong applicants, so thanks very much for your interest. We wish, forgive me, Mr. Bromley Barrett well, because we know he's recovering at the moment from an injury. So, councillors, there was a conversation about deferring this item. Personally, I don't see why we can't continue with it today, especially when the candidates has come to see us, and also we have got answers to questions we submitted by email. Did you want to read out those answers?
So yes, Chairman, if you recall, councillors were invited to suggest suitable questions, not trick questions, hopefully, that we could send to the candidates to assist them. So I sent them to initially the first, Mr. John, who couldn't make it, and obviously as a courtesy, I've sent it to Marie as well. So John's response was, first question was, whilst we welcome their application, what has inspired them to put themselves forward now? And his response was, with a change in employment status, I have much more flexibility in working hours. So this is a great opportunity to find a way to give back a little something to the community we are all part of. And the second question was what qualities they feel they could bring to the council, and in which areas, for example, committees, they feel they could make a valid contribution. And his response was, my professional background is in technology-centred businesses, so general organisational / execution / negotiation skills would be relevant. I have a particular interest in planning and infrastructure, so we'll be looking to contribute to committees in these areas.
Thank you. Marie, did you want to pick up any of those questions which were asked by email?
Yeah, so Greg kindly sent me the email earlier, so I've done some words. If you don't mind reading them out, that's okay.
I'm just wondering, could you take the seat? I'm going to remind myself to ask people to do that.
No, more than half that.
So in response to what has inspired me to put myself forward, we retired to the village from a larger community. We came to Billingshurst from Horsham, and this is the first time a position has become available since we moved. We moved about 4 years ago. So after assisting with the organisation of the inaugural Billingshurst Open Garden in 2025, I'd just like to be more involved in the activities that will benefit the local community. I have enjoyed meeting people involved with the village organisations, and including the Parish Council members as part of the Billingshurst Front Gardens competition. I had a lot to do with them for that. I've more recently been involved with the Billingshurst Community Partnership Team, where we applied for and won a grant from Horsham District Council as funding for the 2026 Billingshurst Open Gardens. So we won't have to rely on you guys so much next year, which is good. So qualities, have good communication skills and the ability to be able to assess and convey information in a concise fashion. That's what I was taught to do during the insurance company that I worked with. I took over the chairman position of the Royal and Sun Alliance Pensioners Association in November 2024. And I have subsequently cut down on administrative meeting times by around 50% by setting clear agendas and objectives, moving the association away from printed communication and paying by cheques, enabling everything to be more streamlined and more cost effective. So organisational skills is my forte. That's what I was taught to do.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for that. Councillors, any comments? If anybody wants to defer, you have got every right to put that forward as a proposition. Equally, if you've got any propositions regarding a candidate, we have in the past done it by the way of a signed ballot. We can do that. That would need to be a resolution.
I'd like to propose it with,
Okay, who second that?
Yeah.
Okay, those in favour of dealing with the corruption in that manner? And that is carried, thank you. So now let's down, I'll get down to you to. And any comments or questions?
Sorry, it's a public meeting. Council meeting, so the public, you're welcome to stay till the lights go out. Right. If members would just perhaps just like to what the first name of the candidate on the bit of paper and perhaps initial it, maybe. These will be destroyed, of course, in accordance with our data protection regulations. So this is just the physical name of your preferred candidate. And then these package over slips of paper coming out.
So all expected, please spare me.
Where is this? Smart guys. Right. Chairman, you'd just like to verify this with me, verify. So I believe we have 7 for Marie and 4 for John. Agree? And yeah, you getting us good. Right.
So Marie, you're duly elected. Thank you very much. And commiserations again to John, if he's watching the meeting, and please do try and get another tie because they were both very prominent occasions in the league. Sing. Yeah. So our clerk's just got to do a little bit of paperwork. So
Over there. Joyce. Okay. So that's the agenda, so you can hopefully follow us. Well done. Would you just like to sign my life away? You'd like your name to put there, sign the date there before then. It's a very light sentence. You only got 12 months this year. Got elections next year, so.
yeah. The candidate's interested in taking committee places. When would we decide that? Or when would we ask which their preference, or they can go for both?
said that in writing, I think.
Yeah, but is that an assumption of whatever they said, will they join, or do they get the option?
We come to that later on the agenda. Yeah. Thank you again, councillors and ladies and gentlemen, for your patience. So item 4, to receive declaration of interest and considering request for dispensation. Are there any councillors? Okay, moving on, thank you. We now adjourn the meeting, firstly for our public session. Did anyone wish to speak? Okay, thank you very much. And I will resume the meeting. We go on to reports from our district and county councillors. Thank you for your report presented by email. No requirement to go through them word for word. They're quite long and detailed. They will of course appear on the links for the benefit of the public. Can I start with Amanda then, please? I think you were particularly keen to talk about the West Sussex County Council views on putting forward a single unit.
I am. Thank you. And just to say that my two reports, if you have any questions, anybody has them, I'm very happy to take them later. Mostly they're for information. So I'm going to put the case for a single unitary as agreed by West Sussex County Council. So as you know, West Sussex is an established geography with a strong identity. Its varied economy is worth around 27 billion. There is an extensive mix of businesses, including world-leading corporates, strong public services, and a rich array of innovative small and medium-sized enterprises and creative freelancers. It is one of the UK's most attractive counties, with extensive natural and heritage assets, a rich network of vibrant towns and villages, and international connectivity. West Sussex economy is diverse, which is its strength. The established West Sussex economic growth strategy sets out the vision for the whole county and how it will be delivered, reflecting the fact that the county geography is a sensible and functioning economic area. The West Sussex economy is large and complementary. Equally, the diversity of the economy is a strength, with different industries and sectors providing resilience to economic shock. No one sector dominates, and therefore there is a level of protection against sector-specific downturns. A single unitary will be best placed, both in terms of resources and continuity, to deliver the West Sussex economic growth strategy, and will have leverage and scale to successfully link in with and support delivery of the mayoral combined county authority, including having the capacity to deliver strategic planning across a large functioning economic area. The proposed single unitary will be able to deliver the outcomes described in the analysis carried out through the development of the shared West Sussex business case. It is the right size to be efficient, improve capacity, and withstand financial shocks. A larger council tax base combined with a broader economy and business rates base means a single unitary authority will be best positioned to manage financial shocks. In addition, a larger geographic area allows resources to be redistributed across places with varying level of needs and demand for council services, supporting areas of high demand from those with lower demand or exceptional financial capacity, and enabling flexibility in this approach over time. It would have less implementation costs and higher potential savings, making it inherently more sustainable. The shared West Sussex business case demonstrates that a single unitary council would offer greater resilience and capacity, along with substantially higher annual efficiency savings, 48 million compared to 18.8 million. Transformation costs would be covered much more quickly, within 2.25 years rather than 6.25 years, freeing up around £30 million per year, which would be then directed towards frontline services. The single unitary option scores significantly higher than the two unitary options against the service provision criterion. This gives us confidence that when considered alongside the financial analysis, a future unitary authority will be well placed to continue delivering high quality services to residents on a stable and sustainable financial footing. By contrast, dividing services between two unitaries would disrupt essential county-wide provision and place additional strain on service delivery. The business case shows that one unitary will enable integrated and proactive service reform while avoiding the risks and costs of disaggregating services such as adults and children's social care, special educational needs provision, and highways. West Sussex children and adult services have already undergone significant improvement, and splitting them would increase complexity, cost, and operational risk. A single unitary council could deliver safe, legally compliant services across the county from day one, without changes to operating models or IT systems. In comparison, disaggregated services would take considerable time and resources to establish and carry material risks to day-to-day delivery. Given ongoing national reforms and recruitment pressures, splitting these services would not serve the best interests of West Sussex residents, whereas a single council provides the most reliable and sustainable approach. Establishing a single unitary will support devolution arrangements, for example, the establishment of a strategic authority. West Sussex is already well established as a partner in the Sussex devolution area and in the establishment of the new mayoral combined county authority. The single unitary option would allow for continuity and less disruption at the strategic level. An elected mayor with a strong voice to advocate for Sussex will be well supported by a financially resilient unity, which will have the scale, resource and capacity to undertake strategic planning and deliver at scale. This proposal enables stronger community engagement and gives the opportunity for neighbourhood empowerment. The shared West Sussex business case demonstrates that a single unitary would deliver the scale, capability and financial stability required for consistent and efficient services, while also supporting stronger local connection through effective place-based arrangements. Overall, we believe this model offers the best balance between strategic leadership and meaningful engagement with individual communities. One unitary does not mean one single way of doing things. Rather, it means the capacity and resource to work hyper-locally. Across West Sussex, a range of community engagement arrangements already exist, and the intention is to build on these, learning from existing good practice locally and beyond. Local government reorganisation presents a unique opportunity to reimagine locality working, bringing services together in a way that renews relationships with town and parish councils and strengthens local democracy. Larger organisation structures do not preclude local focus. For example, NHS structures often operate at a scale larger than Sussex, yet maintain strong local engagement and neighbourhood-focused services. In my opinion, one unitary will meet local needs more effectively and without unnecessary disruption or costly disaggregation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Amanda. Councillors, any comments or questions regarding that or any other aspect of the matters before West Sussex County Council matters? James?
Yeah, you've given us a number of advantages from your perspective of the unitary authority. What would you say is the disadvantages?
Unitary?
Yeah.
One unitary. I don't think there are any, frankly. I mean, I've worked for West Sussex. I mean, West Sussex delivers 80% of the services that our residents receive. That needs to be business as usual. And that's, and I mean, that's, you know, I mean, the thing that really worries me about two unitaries is the fact that social services will be affected. And you will know from my reports previously, and I continue to reiterate, that social services, both children and adults, are under extreme pressure. The demand is very high. And so to do business as usual, I mean, to disaggregate that, we would have to then set up two separate social services, separate service for unitary 1 and a separate social service for unitary 2. So that means employing more people. It means probably trooping people across. It takes time and it will cost a lot of money. And the whole idea, as far as I was concerned, when the Labour government said they wanted people to embrace local government reform and devolution, was that it was going to save money. And that's what I think is a priority. We are struggling, and again, I've said to you, we are struggling with our budgets because we haven't got adequate funding. We help about 12,000 people in our services, and it comes at a high cost. We have more and more people with complex needs who cost a lot of money. So, it's all, and it's not going to go away. The rise in people retiring or coming to live in West Sussex from the age of 65 onwards has risen far higher. It's gone up it's now 23% of residents are 65 plus. We're a net importer of older people.
Any other comments or questions from councillors? That's been trying to.
If I may, my understanding is that the one disadvantage or concern about a single county unitary is the slightly more remote democratic side of it. And what concerns me is, I listened to the Paul Marshall, the leader of the county council, some the chief executive some weeks ago at a West South conference, talking about bringing in, for example, county committees. Now, we've had county council local committees before, not that long ago, and they were scrapped due to complete lack of engagement with the public and to save money. If it was tried and tested once before, why should people believe that that would work a second time to fill that democratic void, which I think is the biggest concern?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, you talk about a democratic void, but in actual fact, through all the services we deliver, we engage with a lot of local communities and the local services, the voluntary and third sector. I mean, I was involved in the county local committees. It was a great shame because I thought it was good, but we couldn't, you know, parish councils weren't interested in coming. So in the end, it was a waste of money. But I mean, that doesn't mean to say, I mean, I'm not sure a county local committee is the answer, but I think better engagement. We've got, you know, we will have to make sure there's better engagement. You know, Greg, that over the last 2 years, we've set up these Zoom meetings with parish and town council clerks about highways and what's going on, and I envisage something like that, and I think that's a good thing. I think you think it's a good thing. It keeps everybody up to date. It's on Zoom, it's the whole team, so it's easily, you know, it's easy for people to log in, and I think it's really improved our relationship with town and parish councils, and I can see that in other ways. I mean, you know, I've always believed that communication is key, and I think we have to make every effort to make sure we improve that, and we are in touch with our local communities.
Thank you, Amanda. Councillors, any other questions? Thank you, as always, Amanda.
Thank you.
And moving on to our district councillors, again, thanks for your report. Anything you wanted to sort of summarise? I think it will be particularly interesting to hear views on the local government reorganisation. Amanda just has, because that's on our agenda tonight. So, well, thank you.
Okay, right. I will summarize what I've written, but the first point I do want to read out loud, it's only a sentence, but the Billingshurst walking activity, I just wanted to congratulate all the different Billingshurst groups that came together to host what I thought was a wonderful event that is growing in size year on year. And to thank you guys, the Billingshurst Parish Council, for its financial support, and also to James Savory for his allowing the use of the Jengers Car Park at the trust. So good event. I hope it carries on next year, as I'm sure it will. Right. I wrote the railway in. There was a noise, which I managed to get sorted. Food waste, Billingshurst residents, we're going to be getting some information on the food waste collection, which is a mandatory new service that we have to start providing. It will be for all of our food waste, and it will go get processed. And I think it's made into manure, or not manure, but fertilizer or something like that at the end product of it. So that's coming. I think the service will actually start in April, but we'll be getting some information about it this month or in February. There is a business training program being run by HDC. I did look for some courses that were happening in Billingshurst. There aren't any, but there are quite a number that happen in Broadbridge Heath and also in Horsham itself. But these are mainly aimed at local businesses, and some of them look really quite good. Probably could do a few of them myself. The council tax, the government has reduced its revenue support grant to HDC by 4.3%. This follows the implementation of their fair formula. If there are any questions on that, I'm going to refer you to Mark for any further detail. The local plan. Right, I'm sure we're all quite familiar with what's happening with the local plan, but basically there was two areas of concern for why the draft local plan wasn't allowed to go forward: water neutrality and insufficient cooperation. But since then, water neutrality has been revoked by Natural England, which has led to a whole slew of former proposals coming back, and to be honest with you, we haven't really no option but to agree to them. There's been about 8 different ones, not in Billingshurst, but in the surrounding areas. I think there's been 2 in Billingshurst. Anyway, they have reduced the, they've announced the removal of the duty to cooperate in the new MPPF. And so what we have done at HDC is we've written to the planning inspector to see whether or not now we can carry on with where we left off. So fingers crossed, it's a long shot, but we think we might have a chance of actually revitalizing the local plan. So there's a meeting coming up to discuss this. Better Billingshurst Fund, you guys are on it as well, so you have the same information as I do. We did last month agree to award some grants to some very worthy local causes. It was a pleasure to be on that panel. We're going to be getting a report on the feedback from the public consultation on the spending panel. And I think in February, we're going to be meeting up again and we're going to be then reviewing and voting on some of the proposals. So finally, the money will start flowing. West Sussex County Council elections. They've formally requested to the MHCLG, which is, I have to go up my notes to say what it is, the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government. That they've requested that the elections be postponed in May for the 2nd year running. The justification being that the elections would interfere with the local government reorganization. However, it's a feeling in HDC and other districts, boroughs in West Sussex, that we're responsible for running these elections, not WSEC. And so we publicly announced and written to the minister to say that we're fully prepared to and able to run these elections as scheduled. We'll be getting a decision from the MHCLG later this month. Finally, Holocaust Memorial Day. HDC will be organizing a vigil and lanterns ceremony in Horsham Town Centre on the 27th of January. I'm not aware of any local plans of Billingshurst, so hopefully as many of us can get up there to Horsham.
Thank you, John.
That's it.
Councillors, any questions or comments in your direction? David?
Oh, thank you. 2 questions, John.
Sure.
First one is, can you just tell us what happens to the waste, the food waste? You said compost or?
Yeah, it's going to be anaerobic, I can't pronounce it, but anaerobically digested.
And what
The plant.
happens then?
It breaks down over a period of time,
Yeah.
and then what
Can we
happens
just
is it becomes fertilizer.
at a time for this? It's going to confuse us.
Yeah. So there's obviously compost at the end of it. What happens to it? It's sold up.
I believe it's sold off. I'm not 100% sure what, but I can get that information.
That would be quite.
No, if you, Amanda, can you
Well,
ask
I
a
can
question?
provide the answer because West Sussex County Council have, the food waste is delivered to West Sussex County Council and then it's dealt with and then it's used, you know, as compost or fertiliser, whatever, compost or not fertiliser. So we're in the process of putting in a whole lot of machinery at our MDO plant in Ford, which will be able to deal with all the food waste.
So it's a revenue.
Sorry?
It's a revenue. You can
Yeah,
say.
well, it will, and it won't be wasted, which is great. It will be recycled.
Okay, good.
I think it's a good thing.
Your second question?
Yes, absolutely. I wrote to Natural England to understand that for me, it's a huge change. The water neutrality statement has been scrapped.
Yes.
This was issued in 2021 when they thought that there wasn't enough water down in Fulham. Anyway, they decided that it was going to be a problem for the whole county, so they started it. Every developer needed to do to find measures to counter these problems with water distribution. So I wrote to Natural England to understand what has changed in the last 4 years. Because something has changed. I don't know what it is. Maybe there's more water, more rain. I don't know. And I got this automated response. Thank you very much. Blah, 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 robot. No response. So can you help us getting some information as to what has changed in the last 4 years that makes this county more sort of more favourable to?
I don't have an answer for you.
No, I know, but maybe.
Can you come back to you in a moment when you take the seat and then we can pick up on that, yeah.
Defer that to sound.
To sound?
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Anything else for John, councillor? James, thank you.
So I was interested in your report, and you mentioned it briefly, the programme for business skills training.
Yes.
I've had somebody working with me who recently took the leap from employee to self-employed. And I see there's a number of things that he's good at what he does. But in terms of setting up his own business, he could use support in basic things like preparing quotations, raising invoices, customer relations and stuff. I didn't see that sort of thing in the list of options being offered. It was all much higher, at a much more higher level and much more technical. And I think there's a need for people at really a much more basic level who are trying to set up on their own.
I think that's a good shout out. I'm happy to feed that back.
Thank you.
For running it.
Okay, good. Yeah, good question. Any other comments, councillors? In which case, thank you, John, and you. Yeah, Sam, if you'd like to take that seat. And you can pick up on the previous question.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, okay. So, digital questions and then.
So I sent an email to Natalie
Yeah.
to get some information as to what has changed in the last 4 years that makes the water neutrality void. Basically, what's changed is that there's more water.
What?
I don't know.
Okay. So, in a nutshell, what has changed is that we have a new administration in central government. The new administration have said, Natural England, where's your evidence? Natural England haven't had additional information to deliver. So that puts a stalemate between what can you prove, what can you disprove. And I think at the moment, the Labour government is differently minded. Whereas the previous government was saying, well, you know, we think there is an issue because you are saying there's a problem. Now we've got, well, you can't prove it. And yeah, and quite simply, different government, different priorities.
So does that mean that the statement in 2021 wasn't factual?
It's not that it wasn't factual. It's that what the Labour government is saying is that they are not satisfied with the evidence.
We're going to get.
Yeah.
Not much to
Right,
try.
it's definitely outside my pay grade. I think
Yeah,
it's
sure.
you know, it's something that's been discussed and has been decided at central government level. So that water neutrality commitment that we had to follow, we're now being told we're not to look at that anymore. So therefore, only planning applications that were coming forward, that where we had to say, well, can you demonstrate water neutrality? We now cannot ask them to deal with that, which is why obviously the floodgates are open for more applications.
No comment on.
The only other things to say is obviously Better Billingshurst Fund. I just wanted to say that we obviously met and we had an opportunity and with some of the people here to look at some of the grant applications. It's just to say if you're in the room or people listening online, it was just an absolute privilege just to hear some of the things that people in our community are up to and delivering for the community, you know, and just to be able to say yes to try and make those things keep going was just fantastic. So thank you to those people who put those grant applications in and just letting us know what you're up to and just what a privilege it was to be able to help you in a little way as well. So yeah, so if you're any way involved, thank you. Obviously, Councillor Jones spoken about the unitary authority, which is absolutely right. Councils up and down the country are struggling financially with things like social care and send costs, and they are going bankrupt, which is why the central government has said your local authorities have got to be big enough to withstand shocks and withstand issues, which is why the central government has asked for the change. Each of you will have an opinion about what is big enough to withstand those shocks. And obviously, if you want to have your opinion felt, which is why obviously the local council, the district council is saying we need to be able to express our opinion in an election. We believe that the district has more than enough capacity to run those elections. And we think that 2 years delay is 2 years too many.
When it comes to the unitary authority, so I believe HDC's views are a little different to counties.
Absolutely. But I'm not in any way the expert on it. There's always going to be pros and cons, and I'm not disputing for a second what Amanda said and what Councillor Jubbs said. There are issues with being too small, and obviously the bigger you are, maybe the more robust you are. But it's how you make it up, because we are in the privileged position of being quite an affluent district. Not every district is the same. So what comes in, what comes out, what liabilities are you taking on, what benefits are you taking on? Everybody will have a different opinion about what's big enough to withstand the shocks and where the compromises are, but that's for you to decide.
Any comments or questions for Karen, please?
No.
Lovely, thanks for that. Thank you.
Chairman, could I just come back on this misconception that County Council has asked for the elections to be deferred because we can't run it? It's not that at all. The reason that so the Labour government came initially.
Chairman, I need to just interject here. I'm increasingly concerned about political parties being named in this council chamber. And this is, I think if we could just refer to government or district or county, I know some councillors feel unhappy about continuing mentioning of party labels, and certainly as officers we feel similarly. So if I could ask anyone in the room to be more mindful that we do not want party political names in this council. If I hope members speak on behalf, I'm sure I hope our government stows set mark. Councillors, everyone's opinion on
We
this.
take your point.
Thank you.
Taking that into account, if somebody's factually incorrect, I would be interested to hear what the correct version
So
is.
the government came to us, went to all top tier authorities. So County Council, where there were 2-tier authorities. So in West Sussex, we have 2-tier authorities. We have the County Council, which delivers 80% of services, and you have district and borough councils, which deliver one of the most important things is planning and other things such as rubbish collection, etc., etc. And they are all in much smaller areas. So they came to the county, to the top tier authorities and said, we will be bringing in devolution in 2028. If you would like to be part of the programme, advanced programme, please declare an interest. So various authorities did that, and Sussex, because it was West Sussex, East Sussex, and Brighton and Hove. We consulted with each other, we talked about it, and we agreed, all of us, to put forward a proposition to the government to be included in the priority programme. Sussex was accepted as a whole, and work began. This is 2 years ago. Work began to lay the foundations in place. It's taken a lot of work and a lot of time, officer time. Extra officers have been brought in to help it be a smooth transition, etc., etc. It has been not an easy time because various messages get slightly mixed, but nevertheless, the government said to us last year, if you wish to have deferred elections, as we recognise that you are in the middle of preparing for devolution, please apply to us and we will consider it. So we applied, they considered it, and they granted us a deferral of the elections last year. Work has continued, and Sussex has continued to work together, so that's East Sussex, West Sussex, and Brighton and Hove, to work together to set out the foundations, and a lot of work's gone into that. And I'm saying to you, the practicality of having elections this coming May, there will be people elected for 1 year only, because as we have been informed recently, it's likely there will be further elections next May 27. So people will be elected, and it doesn't matter who's elected, but people will be elected for 1 year only, will then have to go to the polls again. A, it costs money. It costs about £3 million to run an election. And B, those people will be in office for a year. It will be impossible. I mean, they will have to put in place all sorts of, they will have to pick up the ropes and run with it in order to get everything in place by May 2027, so that a unitary election or the mayoral election can take place and the mayor will come into being, or the unitaries will come into being. There's still a lot of unknowns, but we have been told by government that we have to continue to work towards this. So it's not because we can't run the elections. It's not that at all. We don't run the elections anyway. We know HDC organises elections. It's because we feel that what we have put in place is so important and has taken so much time and effort and money that we should be allowed to continue in that vein until the elections take place in the further elections take place for the unitaries and the mayor in 2027.
Thank you,
Just
Anne.
wanted to
You picked up on the point Sam said about postponing elections and regular. Thank you. Now, councils, we go resume our meeting and go back into council session. Yes, thank you, Greg. Any updates from council representatives from outside bodies? We heard a bit about the Better Billingshurst panel. Anybody on that panel wish to say anything about the process? Great, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it was the start of a process. I think it's probably taken quite a significant time to get done. I've been on the council now for just over a year, and it's been spoken about since I joined. I felt that it was really good to hear about the grants and things like that. And I'd say lots of people have clearly got some great opportunities out there for those grants to be awarded. I think going on to the next bit, I think we're kind of going through a lot of administration duties at the moment to try and find a time where we can all get together, which I'll be honest is quite frustrating. You know, we're looking at being into February, March time now, and I think it does cause a bit of unease from people I've spoken to in the parish, but we are trying to find some time to do that. So the expectation is either we'll meet in February or March for that, but hopefully when the time arises, we'll have all the due information that needs to be discussed, and we can start making some decisions around where that money is spent. That's my opinion.
Thank you. Any other comments regarding that, or anything else that any other councillors represent the council on? I imagine this time of year there's probably not been an awful lot. Thank you. So apologies, now we are now back into council session proper. So approval of minutes of the 2nd December, please. Firstly, thanks to Councillor Jones for stepping in chairing the meeting at quite short notice. Just to confirm, we're voting to approve the accuracy of the minutes. As I wasn't there, I won't be voting on it. Any comments or questions or propositions, councillors? Great.
Those we accept.
Second by Doug. Thank you, Doug. Those in favour? Good, that's carried. Thank you very much. Clerk's report.
Nothing to report, Chairman.
So now we move on to recommendations from the Finance and General Purposes Committee relating to our budget and precept. We had some work done on this, as always, at our budget workshop and FNGP. So the recommendation is as on the agenda. Do we have any comments or questions or propositions? A lot of work to be done, but okay, can I propose then we should do this two separate proposals? Can I propose that we approve the recommendation from FNGP regarding the revenue budget of 703,946? Can we second that? Thank you for being there first, Doug. Those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. And equally, can I propose that we agree to the recommendation for the FNGP committee of the precept of 560,338? Can we second that? Craig, thank you. Those in favour? Again, that's carried. Thank you. And just a reminder, just to get down to the figures, that means with an average bandy property, that's an increase of £5.81 a year, 11.18 pence per week. So item 10, as council would do well, I asked if we could go on the agenda so we can receive an update, but I felt it was taken a while to get this project underway. But I think felt a positive update. Looks like we're in the process of moving forward with some of these now. Did you need to add anything essentially?
Nothing to report, Chairman.
Council, any comments or questions regarding this?
Sorry, regarding what? Regarding what, sorry?
The item 10, CCTV.
Yeah.
James, yeah.
Just one, I did send in a note, I forget if it was to the chair, to the clerk or deputy clerk regarding Church Path, going up slightly above where it faces in the primary school. And there was an incident there a number of years ago when a woman was attacked. Some undergrowth was cut back, it's grown back. I just wondered whether that might be a site that would be worth considering for CCTV. I don't know, but
well, it certainly doesn't form part of the current one.
Yeah.
It's certainly one of the my position. So thank you. Anybody else comment?
I just wanted to acknowledge, I think, the complexity of the task. Frankly, As Craig says, we've been, well, this one's been on the cards for 2 years or more, and we'd love it to get to be operational, the whole thing, rather than bits and pieces of it. And I think we do accept that Greg has had an enormous amount of difficulty to overcome.
Thank you.
I'll just say, there's a whole load of green on here, which is really good. I think it looks like there are potential some easy wins in the red columns, mostly related to county councils. So it'd be quite nice to get that all done in one communication and get that one on the move. Otherwise, thank you to our officers for their hard work.
Yeah, okay. Any other comments, questions? The only thing I was going to ask is, with the green ones, which again, a great list of projects we can proceed with, is there a potential timescale just to manage people's expectations, or is it going to?
I'm meeting the contractor again shortly to look at sort of on the ground some of these more difficult sites, but they are very keen, given they've had some money up front as well. They are very keen to get started. Obviously, they missed last year's the autumn and the weather for digging holes and putting poles up, so they are very keen to crack on as soon as the weather starts improving ground conditions in the road zone.
Fantastic, great.
I think they're very keen to get some up, even just one.
Yeah, that's it. Let's get it started. Great, fantastic. Done.
Yeah, just to come back if I could, now just bearing in mind the passage of time is the price of the job compared to things.
Chairman, if I may, I think there's going to be some movement on this, and obviously we'll be saving some money where we're not putting the cameras in. And given some of the complexities, they're looking at slightly alternative technology, so I think some of these costs are going to be revisited, but it's
Revisited,
well,
upwards or level.
Go up if you know. So we're talking about the red sites, basically. They're the ones which are possibly going to have the additional different equipment,
possibly.
different costs.
Well, is there a cap on that?
I haven't we haven't even got that far. No. I mean, the classic case is, I know I've tried to explain it in the report, but this camera in the library car park, that's proved to me the most problematic because the column is not designed to take too many additions. A street lighting column is designed to support a lantern, not all the clutter that goes on it. Yeah. So that's why the district have been reticent about near height and its structural integrity to take it. Now that camera, because we were using Wi-Fi, a line of sight, so it was going to bounce to up Mill Lane to relay on, and then bounce up the high street from to column back to here. Now, if that camera is not going on that said column where we thought it was going to go, then it has to go somewhere else. There may no longer be a line of sight. Yeah. So they have to use some kind of 3, 4, 5G technology that does not require line of sight. So that's why I'm not going to commit to anything, because this is a very dynamic situation. Sorry, it sounds complicated.
No, it really is complicated. I think
it is.
Yeah.
But as I've tried to comment in my report also, the camera at the skate park is the most problematic because there is no usable electricity anywhere near it. The cost of moulding from the pavilion would be horrendous. And I shouted at this man and I said, I can't believe we can film Mars without any electricity supply, etc., using solar panels. So why can't we get a signal from the skate park to here? It's very frustrating.
And what was his answer out of interest?
Well, he said, well, it costs money. I would just tell us what it's going to cost.
I think obviously tonight, no decisions to make tonight, but I think in the future, it might well, my view would be that, you know, with some sites will not potentially be viable, and then that maybe will, or we won't be able to do, we won't get permission on the one particular. So that might offset some of the additional costs on the other side. Yeah. But I would think in the future, I guess it might have to come back to it and you'd be able to get some of the increasing costs.
Yes.
Yeah. So yes. Yeah, Jerry.
How far is the moulding? What's the meterage?
Lots.
Yeah. Let me know. So you can let me. I might be able to help then.
Oh, okay.
Right. Thank you. Okay.
So there's just been quite a lot of vandalism in Anglebert Green recently. There's no waste bins there anymore. sort of found in the hedge and it's not never. So the sooner we can get one up there, the better.
No, this is good news. Thank you. Okay, councillors, thanks for Doris and thank you, Greg, for all your hard work behind the scenes as well as giving us the update tonight. Item 11, this is again, no decision tonight. This is just an update. Another project I thought we probably needed to publicly address because it had the varieties people ask their views. Again, anything else you need to add? I think we're waiting to hear
Still
back.
have heard nothing back from the Agri-Friendly Council. Fingers crossed.
James.
It's great that we seem to be having some progress on the traffic calming after all this time, and well done for getting as far as we've gone. Once these steps are in place, we always said they were going to be first steps. We were advised that all the things that we wanted to do, we have to do incrementally. And I just wanted to propose we try and keep the momentum going by putting in the date in the calendar for a few months' time to reconvene the working party and see what next we could do on the steps to the much more detailed proposals that we've already got. And we've had frustrations, which Councillor Jux is well aware of them actually trying to make something happen. We have had a number of traffic incidents in the village in the last few months, which maybe adds to the evidence that we need to present to take this forward a bit further.
Thank you, James. Quite right. Who are you wanting to hear from county?
Back to Councillor Jux on that. She may have some hotter news than I can convey.
Well, what I was going to say without wishing to go in now capital session again, but is this something you pick up Greg as most been? Thank you.
It's Matt Gray and I'll follow up. I haven't caught up with him after Christmas, so I'm due to. So I'll put some pressure on.
We would say, Chair,
Much appreciated.
autumn, didn't they?
Yeah,
Which seems to stretch all the way to the end of December these days.
lovely. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for participation. On then. Item 12, again, verbal report from the clerk. We've had something in writing to you.
Just to summarise for the benefit of transparency, obviously, subsequent to the last meeting where members deferred giving approval to fell the trees, I tried to set up a meeting with our solicitor and the insurer, which has taken considerable time to arrange, not helped by the fact that the loss adjuster has since left. I'm not sure it was due to this particular case. It could well be, but he, I think he's anyway, test now with a new loss adjuster. In the meantime, we sought further opinion from our barrister, and I did copy that to all councillors for information. It's obviously not in public domain, but I think that I'm not unreasonable to suggest that the advice coming back is that to reinforce the council's current position, we need a more detailed additional report. So to this end, we have got a quote for our own VAT survey, which will be hopefully undertaking at the appropriate time. Apparently there is a specific window when you should or should not do VAT surveys, of course, but that was an easy one. I'm also trying to, your members recall that the independent report we had done last summer by Dr. Martin Dawson was effectively a desktop review of the claimant's original report. So we're now going down the route, and this will come back to members because I think it's not going to be a cheap option to have a new report starting from scratch that does not rely on someone else's baseline information. So that's roughly where we are. When I've got some further figures, I'll be able to come back to members.
Yeah. I was going to say that is obviously, as this would be probably quite considerable spend, this would need to come back to councillors to approve that spend if we do employ someone to do a new investigation from scratch. The other things I thought, personally, I think they need to run kind of concurrently with the work Greg's already doing, is in order to undertake our own investigation, once a suitable person's found in the council, indeed if they agree to go down that route, surely we would need the permission of the homeowner to do that. And isn't it not wise to be getting that permission now? Because otherwise we'd be doing all this work and they might say no anyway. So I know it's one I just want to leave you with rather than sort of put you on the spot for an answer. And in the same way, really, I mean, it would be useful to know actors' current position, because if they have now accepted or assumed the council's not going to remove the trees and they've now decided to take other action, which would effectively mean I would assume I could say the fight to save the trees would have been successful if they're going to do another course of action. But I think we need to know that, because then we could go down the route of getting our own independent inspection for no need, for no reason. So again, I just thought it'd be that Greg to see if he can sort of find out what their current thoughts are. I mean, I guess I'm sure we'll need to find that out from them. Councillors, any other comments or questions on this subject?
Just a very quick one. I think it's in East Sussex, a judicial review was done on pretty much the same case. I think 2-3 trees that were to be felled by the council because of silence and claims, insurance claims. It was turned down by the judge. So it's interesting. This is the second one in the last 2 years now, which sort of now is growing. Yeah, in that direction.
Lovely, thank you. Any other comments? Thank you. Thanks as always, Greg. Again, as we've said a few times about debate, that will be coming back to us at some point, I'm sure. Now we move on to item 13, to consider response to proposals for local government reorganisation in East Sussex, Brighton, over West Sussex. I'm sure we've all read the information we've sent online, word for word, page to page. It's very, very complex issue. I was particularly interested to hear thoughts from my district and county councillors tonight, and certainly Amanda gave a very sort of detailed view as to what the county council views are. The slightly cynical side of me sort of thinks, well, I think we're really going to listen to what a parish council is going to say on the subject, but I think it's important we possibly have a view on this. I think probably we're just in the position to try and decide if there's any particular options which the other councils have put forward. We either agree with more than others or don't agree with. So anybody got any comments or questions? Difficult. I mean, we don't have to respond to the consultation. Do people think it's worth responding? I'm looking for guidance, please. I'm sure Greg is too. People nearly speaking.
Well,
I could see your
well,
constant.
I'm sort of echoing your cynicism, frankly, Paul. Yeah, I mean, you know, we might put a lot of work into this. Excuse me, form a view, and put that forward, and it may be lost in the morass or taken notice of. But I think the fact that we have no certainty that it will be puts it in question as to whether it's worthwhile exercise.
James.
I'm swayed by Councillor Jacks's arguments earlier. Then there were a number of things there that I hadn't realised. And if really county is responsible for 80% of the spends, then that puts things into a different perspective. My hunch coming in was that closer is better. And certainly the sorts of frustrations that we've had on the traffic calming, if we started having those similar sorts of frustrations around things like planning, which, despite the frustrations we have with Horsham, I think we have a more fluid relationship with Horsham than we've managed to have with West Sussex on the traffic calming. So my hunch is that more local and closer is better, but I don't know.
Anybody else? Yeah, Jeremy.
I think what Amanda said makes logical sense, and I think with AI coming through, there'll be mass savings as well on employment as well there. So I think eventually the savings will be, it's logical, but cynically, I think maybe in a few years we'll probably be looking at one big unity. Yeah, come.
Anybody else? Right.
Yeah, the cynic in me is that first lot of transformation always brings a second. So I'd argue though, yeah, probably local is better, and I appreciate that we still had a voice, local voice that we can speak to. Ultimately, they'll always find its way to the most efficient route, which is going to be single.
Right.
Does that therefore negate the need or the relevance of us forming a view?
Well, I think we've probably got two options. We either decide, and I think we should vote on this, if it should be a proposition not to respond to the application. Or we probably are faced with the option of either supporting the county's view of having one unity council across the whole of the West Sussex area, or we sway towards HDC's view of having a smaller one, which I think was just 3 groups, Crawley, Horsham and Mid Sussex. So.
I mean, are we a representative body of the parishioners?
Hmm.
Are they having their say in this, or are we just saying, having our say in this?
Well, it's both. I mean, they're subject to the same consultation we are.
Yeah.
And we very much, on every matter, including planning, of course, we'd very much like to say we would, it'd be much easier for us if people were here telling us what they want us to do. But they're probably, to be frank, as confused as we are.
If I may, I heard a presentation some months ago, I'm not sure it was of the district of a county, because they both ran some their own consultations last summer. And I think the interest from the public virtually didn't even register on the written scale, basically. So I think that shows probably either level of confusion or ambivalence towards it.
But equally, we are local elected councillors, and even if our community is not particularly guiding us in a certain direction, we should still, not just say that because of that we don't want to comment. Craig, we ready to say?
Yeah, I was just going to say we're named as a party to be referred to, and I think it'd be a shame to pass up on that opportunity to say something. I think maybe the harder thing would be coming up with an opinion that forms everyone here in the room, because there's quite a few of us, and I know we'll all be thinking about how we represent the parish, but at the same time, I know that we've got different views.
Yeah.
So that's my only concern is how do we say something that's going to form everyone's view as opposed to.
Well, again, we've got the right to do that. I mean, obviously we can do something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But I think this is sort of vote is never going to be unanimous. From my perspective, I was swayed a little bit by the manager's arguments earlier, and I was a little concerned to hear some of her concerns about the possibility of splitting services in different areas, which are currently provided at one level in the county. So we've got to go somewhere as a starting point. So can I put a proposition forward? Feel free to vote against. That when we do respond, and we respond by saying that we would support the county council view to have one unitary council across the whole of the West Sussex area. Would anyone second that? Craig. Goes in favour. We will take all votes from this if Griffith is now there. 5, I think. Those against. 6. I think. Okay, good. Motion failed, but it's good that we've had the debate.
It's a good debate.
Very evenly balanced.
Yeah, it probably would be. I was thinking casting vote on that one, to be honest. So thank you for not backing up.
Chairman, I'm slightly wondering, does that mean that not support the Sussex unitary one? Is it assumed therefore that would we expect perhaps someone to put another vote now to support the alternative view?
I would be wanting someone to put a proposition forward, either we put an alternative view forward or we don't comment.
Yeah.
But I really go to someone else.
We don't comment.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, well,
I second that.
I'll second
Oh,
that. Yeah.
That took you by surprise. Yeah. Okay, those in favour of no comment.
To not comment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to not comment on the consultation, to not respond.
Okay.
Those in favour?
Hang on.
Are we talking now or ever?
I'm thinking what's on the table changes. So I guess if things change, if anybody wants to come up with another proposition at some point in the future, feel free, but
Well,
as things stand.
That's a completely different proposition, I think.
The consultation is at 11:59 on the 11th of January. So I think this vote is on this consultation rather than restricting us from voting on future consultations.
So that's being proposed, it's being seconded, that for this particular consultation, which closes as Craig just said, we're not offering responsibility. Is that right?
Yeah, sorry.
Those in favour of the proposition? Again, just leave that hands up, so.
5, 6, I think.
Okay, those against? And so which night, so you're about casting vote.
I think that's 4. That's
Okay. That's carried. I'll be abstaining.
So we voted not to comment.
Yeah, but
There we are.
which would be easy to do. Yeah. Thank you, councillors. I knew that would be a tough one tonight. So we're on to item 14 now, to consider appointments to committees, outside appointments, etc. When we have a new councillor join us, we always ask if there are any committees that would like to join, but we also are pleased to say there's no urgency to make a decision if you want to have a time to visit committees and things like that. But Maria, did you have a particular?
I did have, so when I filled in the form, I had a look through and I suggested the finance and general purpose, the planning and environment and working practices. But I am really not precious about that. So if there is a committee that has low numbers that you'd like me to go on, I'm happy to do that.
I'll be positive.
Just open the gates there. Really don't have any preference.
So it's just to clarify, it's great, so it's planning, FGP.
And the working practices.
Can I propose that we ask, approve rather, Maria joining those? Yeah. Those in favour? Second by Tony. That's carried, brilliant. Any other changes needed from your perspective, James?
I would be interested in joining property.
So James offering to join property, that's great, thank you, James. Before going to vote, any other people want to drop, change committees or?
Yes, I'd like to withdraw from the health representation. And then the West Sussex representation. Thanks.
Which no, withdrawing, we don't have to, so approve that withdrawal. So can I vote that we propose that James Dodd join property committee? Seconded by Crane, as in favour. I don't think you can get much more, but James, thank you. Do we need to do anything with those other?
Chairman, can I highlight the importance of the health and the WSOC to remind all members and new members that is what we might call an umbrella county association that we belong to, that discusses items of mutual interest and often sends, including the evolution, often sends motions and comments up to the county association, and that often goes up to the National Association of Councillors, which then hopefully has the ear of certain ministers. It's sort of a lobbying organisation at government level, and we do have 2 seats. So it's quite, most virtually all the meetings are online, so you haven't got to traipse anywhere. So I'll just highlight the fact that it is quite a important organisation via the local Billingshurst.
We've got Sandy representing the council on both of those now, and we're grateful for that. Anybody else want to take over Jim's position on those? Equally, obviously, we didn't know this was going to be discussed tonight. Anybody like to give that thought outside of the meeting and maybe have a chat to Greg about it, or chat to Sandy or Philip about it to see what's kind of required and will involved. Okay, so leave that open for now. Anything else we need to sort out? Thank you. Thank you. That's great. Our committees are looking, a lot stronger now, which is good. So item 15, to see the minutes approved on the following committees. So planning and environment, please.
Yeah, recommend the council approves planning and environment committee meetings 4th November, 2nd December, please.
Seconded by David. Thank you. That's correct. F&G two, please.
Chairman, propose the council accept the finance and general purposes. The 29th of October.
Seconded by Craig. Thank you. Those in favour? And that's carried. Thank you. And property.
I recommend council approve the minutes and property committee meeting of April 2025.
Thank you. Seconded by Philip. Those in favour? Thank you. That's carried. Item 16, neighbourhood report. Again, we've had the report already. It's online, I believe. Any comments or questions? No, thank you. Again, they seem to be doing a very good job. Item 17, to appoint council to the clerk's end of year review. So remind me of the current situation with the working practice committee. Has it not got a chair?
No, it has a vice chairman, which is councillor Gale, and between annual meetings, the council committees elect any vacancies for chairs and vice chairs, so.
Of course,
Working Practice Committee will be electing its new chairman, hopefully at its next meeting, which I think is next month-ish, I think.
Well, given that, and I think we previously had the chair of working practices, possibly undertake that review. Would you be happy to do it with your vice chair hat on?
I'm absolutely plus happy, and if I could see last year's, in advance. So we work on the same sheet, that'd be very helpful.
Okay. Can I put that forward as a proposition then, that councillor Gale undertakes the part end of the year, end of year review? The second is by Craig, thank you, those in favour? Thank you. Give him that. Thank you. And date of next meeting, the 4th of March. Thank you, councillor, so we close that meeting. We are now then, just for the benefit of members of the public and our new councillor, the Charities Commission requires the Billingshurst Parish Council to meet separately as a charity trustee rather than a local authority, hence we have 2 meetings. So can I start with chairman's announcements? I believe we've got any apart from the ones I mentioned earlier. Apologies for absence, as before, and as opposed we accept. Thank you, Craig, those in favour. Thank you, that's carried. You received declarations of interest, are there?
Just a regular one, I'm a tenant centre, my organisation's a tenant centre.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Public session. No members wish to speak. Approve of the minutes of the Parish Council as charity trustee on the 3rd of September. I propose we accept the minutes. Thank you. Seconded by Doug. Thank you. Those in favour? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. Clerk's report.
Your report, Chairman.
And consider a recommendation from the Centre Committee of 17 December that the accounts for year ending 30th of March are approved. Any comments or questions? Any propositions?
I propose the council accept the recommendation, or sorry, corporate the
It is
get the range for checking.
Thank you. I'll happily second that. Those in favour? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. And to receive the approved minutes of the Billingshurst Centre Committee held on the 30th of July, 24th September, 29th of October. Craig.
I propose to accept the minutes of the Billingshurst Centre Committee held 30th of July, 24th September and 29th of October.
Thank you. Second by Philip. Those in favour? And thank you. That's carried. And date of our next meeting, 4th of March. You've got in there before one of us, do you?
Every time, everybody.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That's kept the Chamber Commission happy. That meeting's closed.
The marks on the bottom of this one.
I know, quick, that's why.
Just we like quality content.
I am.
Thank you, councillors.
Oh, you see. Yeah. Take a faster back. I'm really